We got the music. Tomorrow you got the music. As much as I like this calming mood music. All right, thank you. Welcome. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, great to see everybody. Good to see everyone online, folks joining from different campuses. We are very excited to get to this day and very excited to present a lot of information about work that has been happening over the past year here at Durham Tech with our partners, our architectural partners. Let me put that as a background. And about our two projects here on main campus and our our expansion project over at Orange County campus. We have other renovations happening, but not at Orange County, expansion. So today is going to be a great day to present the work of the past year, to give you a sense of what these buildings are going to look like on main campus in the expansion at Orange County campus, but also to get a chance to understand what it's going to be like to be a college under construction. And so not only do we have Marie Lucier from 35 North, our construction manager, you're going to see here in a little bit, who is here on behalf of our three architectural partners. They're not up here right now, but Lordak Sargent, Andre Johnson Architects, and Catherine Hogan Architects. But also we have Greg Cooper and Corey Shear, who are here from Skanska and Samet, who are going to be presenting some important information. I hope I'm not taking too much of your stuff here. About the logistics. Here's really what I'm supposed to be here for. Now I'm remembering. What I want you to know is this has not been the architectural partners and the construction managers coming up with some designs that you'll now see. Vice President Bowen has been leading this effort from the outset with our partners. We have had our CFO, Andy Kleitch. We've had Dr. Battle. We've had Dr. Donez representing the major divisions in the college, who have been in just about every significant meeting with our architectural partners in the schematic design phase. We have also had Dean Melissa Ockert and her broader team with health sciences or health and wellness. We've had Dean Chris Mansfield and his broader team, especially with Felicia Hunter and our life sciences team. Dean Justin Long and others and Melissa, you've been part of this at Orange County campus. We've engaged our SGA. We've engaged some students in health and wellness, students in life sciences. We've brought other faculty and staff around this. This has been a college project for the past year. So what you're going to see as a result today for where we're moving in this has been the product of a lot of work, and I didn't even mention Marshall Fuller, who has been in more of these meetings than he'd like to count. I mean, I'm talking about hundreds of meetings that have been happening over the course of the past year. And I just want to appreciate, before you see this, what your colleagues have done working with our architectural partners and our construction manager partners to get to the point where we can show you what these buildings are going to look like, what this landscape is going to look like. And so before we even get started, I'd ask you to join me in thanking our colleagues for doing this work. And I'd like the folks that I mentioned to please stand up, please. Talisi, I mentioned you before you came in. It has been a lot of engagement of time and effort. So we did this with the board a week and a half ago or so, and I'm excited that we do it now. And tell us a little bit more detail what we're going to do.
Let's see what the president didn't say. No, I'm only kidding.
You're not.
Oh, I am. I have more to say. It's okay. We are very excited. I just want to say that. We had a wonderful presentation to the Board of Trustees where they got to meet the architects and our construction managers and our team. They were overwhelmed. So I'm hoping we get the same reaction from all of you. But more importantly, I just want to say what we're really looking for, especially when we look at logistics today, which we didn't show them, because we will be living that. We need some back and forth and some conversations with you today. So that's what we're hoping for. I know we have a good number of people online. My team at OCC is watching, and other people. So I just wanted to set the stage for that. I did want to let you know, when is this really going to be done or beginning? So what we have here, I wanted to show you and start just to talk a little bit about when we expect occupancy, when we think the buildings are going to be opened. So as you can see from our screen, health sciences, we're hoping for, at this point, as of today, this is our plan. You know things happen. But as of today, we're looking at Q4 in 2027. Life Sciences Building, we hope to open Q2, 2027. And then the Orange County expansion, we hope that that will be live Q1 of 2027. So at this time, that's our best guess. But here's what's going to happen right now in quick order. We're going to begin with the Durham main campus, followed by updates on the Orange County campus and what's happening there. Our presentation includes aerial views of each campus, the current exterior and interior renderings of the space, so you'll see some floor plans. You can get a sense of what the buildings will look like. And then we'll talk a little bit about construction logistics. Marie, our project manager from 35 North, is going to guide us swiftly through the slides, and then Corey and Greg are going to focus on the logistics sections. We kindly ask that you make a mental note, take a note on your phone, or take a note on a piece of paper that you have here, and we're going to try to keep the questions to the end as we look forward to really an in-depth Q&A with you. And we really are looking for your insights and feedback. Additionally, I'm going to announce this now, but you'll see the formal announcement next week. We are going to be launching a capital construction website, and that will have all the detail you see today, but then ongoing updates. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hand it off, Marie. Okay. So you can use either mic. I don't know if that's
Testing.
No, it's not. I turned it off, sorry.
All right, no problem. Does this work now?
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, hello, Durham Tech. Good to see some good familiar faces. Before we get started, I just want to give you a bit of orientation of the campus, because you're probably not used to seeing your campus on plan like this. So for the folks in the room, East Lawson is to your left, so my right, over here. And so that's what we're looking at, East Lawson from left to right here. So the right of the screen is towards the highway, and to the left here, or to your left, is Bacon Street on this side. We're currently in Building 5 over here. And so the two buildings that we're building on the main campus is the Life Sciences building, which is located over here. And here is the Health Sciences building. We're also doing two other aspects of construction on the site. The first one is going to be improvements to the roads all across East Lawson that you see here. We're also going to be installing a duct bank, which means utilities, so low voltage and Duke power lines currently on the poles are going to be going underground. So that's going to create a much nicer walk-in environment for the campus. So we'll start by talking with the Health Sciences project. So as I mentioned, we're going to be doing some landscape improvements, some streetscapes and road work, and we're going to be doing the duct bank. The building proper is about 80,000 square feet, and it's going to be on 3 different levels. And below you can see the breakdown of the types of spaces that we have in that building. Here's an exterior image of what the building is going to look like. So this is from the view of where we're standing essentially today, from Building 5 looking south towards Building 11. Here's a little bit further down the street towards Bacon. And here you have the new pedestrian access, where that's going to allow you to come and walk in through into the building, and also up to the second floor plaza that I'll show you a little bit later. Here's an exterior image of the view towards the building if you're standing from Building 11, looking at it northwise towards Building 5, where we're at today. And so you'll see the building's a nice L shape, and it's going to create a nice quad green environment where people are going to be able to sit and enjoy and relax between classes. Here's the first level of the Health Sciences building. You're probably seeing a lot of gray here and wondering, what is this that I'm looking at? So you might have noticed, because we have quite a big of hill going down this way towards Bacon Street, we're creating a bit of a walkout basement situation with this building. So the first floor is actually going to be opening on the back towards the parking lot, with the main entrance located here. And then as we move up to the second floor, oops, sorry, I'm going to jump to second floor quickly. You're going to be able to come out onto the main plaza, the green space that we were just looking at. I want to back up quickly and show you an interior rendering of what that first floor is going to actually look like. Sorry, my bad. So this will be the main entrance coming in from the parking lot on the first floor, and then we'll have stairs around the corner to go up to the second and third floors. Here's an image of the second floor lobby as you're coming in from the plaza side. And then here's the third floor of the Health Sciences building that's going to house all of the nursing programs. Now let's jump to the Life Sciences project. So this particular building is going to be on one story. It's going to be 30,000 square feet, and we're going to have a number of different classrooms, laboratories, and some offices for the staff as well. Here's an exterior image of what the building is going to look like, and that is actually standing in the parking lot of Building 1. So just a little bit further east behind us here, looking down towards where Building 8 is currently. You'll probably notice actually on this image, this bus stop here and this crosswalk is actually the exact same position as what it is today. We're not moving it, we're not changing it, so that might give you an idea of the area that we're looking at right now. This is an image of the Life Science building, but on the other side now. So as if you're coming out of Building 10, looking north towards this building. And here's a similar orientation again, and you'll see that we'll have nice green seating space and plaza area for folks to enjoy lunch and have a break between classes, after classes, and you'll have access into it and out of the building from all sides, this way and then through the front. Here's to give you an idea of what the building is going to look like. This image might make you think that you actually have two different buildings. What it is two pieces of it, or let's call them wings, that are actually combined with one building with a big roof over top, and you're going to have a nice wide open passageway in between to pull people in and allow traffic flow to go through to campus, to Building 10, 11, and some of the other parking areas on the site. On this side, we have what we call the teaching wing, where we have the classrooms and the offices and student spaces for collaboration, eating, and whatnot. And on the right side, we focus the majority of the laboratories with all of the lab equipment and technical teaching is going to be happening on this side of the building. Here are a few interior images of what we're expecting the main lobby to look like. And this is on the teaching classroom side that you saw on this side over here. Here's an image of what the main classroom is going to look like. So you probably notice we have a lot of glass, so the rooms are going to be nice and bright and open. And here are a few more additional images for the Life Sciences building that give you an idea of the different spaces that we're going to have. So a lobby on the lab wing. We've got a couple images of the lab renderings, and then some of the student spaces that we're going to have. Now I'd like to hand it over to Greg, who's going to walk you guys through the logistics plan for the main campus.
Thank you, Marie. So my name is Greg Cooper, Project Director with Skanska USA Building. It is my honor to have the task of building two of these buildings here that we're talking about today. That's going to be Health Sciences and Life Sciences, and I'm going to walk you through just our process and how we're going to minimize disruptions while we build these over the next 2 years. So to start off, this is the main campus map. We're sitting here in Building 5 currently, right up here. We know Lawson Street cuts right through the middle of campus. So our two buildings are going to sit side by side just south of Lawson Street, right here in the vicinity of Building 8, Parking Lot F and Parking Lot D. So Health Sciences will sit here, Life Sciences will sit here. It'll be a beautiful view across the street from this building to watch us perform the construction. Hopefully you like it as much as I do. So to note, Building 8 is going to be demolished March or springtime of next year. So it'll be out of the way as we start construction. So this is kind of neat. All the shapes that Marie just went over with you of the actual buildings, now I get to overlay it onto the actual land. So this is Google Maps here. This is parking lot F. This is where the health science building will go. As you see, we will put our perimeter fencing around the entire building job site. We'll come in early next summer, so that's going to be 2025 around June. And we'll set up our site fencing on both of the projects. We'll put in our pedestrian pathways, our temporary walkways, and the intent of that is to make sure that all the students, faculty can walk right through the middle of campus, traversing from the north side of campus down to the south side of campus. As you'll see with this configuration as well, building 11, building 10, all the walkways around there will remain active, so you'll still be able to get around those buildings. The green here up at the top, both sides, that's our construction entrances. So that's where we'll bring in all of our trucks and traffic into the job site. One other thing, just on duration, again, we'll break ground on this actual building September 2025, 2-year project. It'll wrap up fall of 2027. So moving over to life sciences, I'm sure this looks familiar to you as well. This is parking lot D, where we will be building the life sciences building. Again, perimeter fencing, construction entrance in the top right, all our pathways, still being able to make it through campus, all right? One thing I did want to mention, as this pathway comes along Lawson Street, it'll take everybody across the crosswalk at the bus stop. That'll remain in the same spot. So this is an 18-month project. This will start, break ground in fall of 2025. 18 months, ends up March 2027. All right, and then as Marie mentioned, the last component of the project here is the roadway renovations. So the first thing we're gonna do is take all the overhead power lines and put them underground. So we call that electrical duct bank. We'll start here at the east end of Lawson Street, working over to the west. The actual duct bank will be just south of the roadway. It'll go about where the sidewalk is at. And what we do with that, we go about 50 feet chunks, start from the right and finish the section and move to the next section. So if you can imagine, over 9 months, we'll be doing some excavating, putting in the piping, and then we'll have some concrete trucks that come, stage on the side of the road, pour out. We'll do those concrete pours off peak hours to make sure we don't disrupt traffic too much. And we will have flaggers out there to direct traffic as well. And then the last phase of this is the roadway renovations, which is really going to look nice. We're going to be renovating the roadway, paving, putting in a median, upgrading the sidewalks and the curb and gutter. So the way we'll do this, we'll start on the south side, which is the yellow, if you can see it up there. We'll finish the construction, and then we'll flip the traffic over to the north side. There will be some disruptions to traffic as we're doing the roadway renovations, which will take about 9 months total. However, we will minimize those disruptions, again, with flaggers and some temporary stoplights. Trying not to go down to one lane as too much, but there will be some need for it. So, all right, well, that's my last slide.
If we can go back one slide, I just want to make sure people see a couple of things. Just do it because it's easier. I want to make sure you see a couple things. One is you're going to notice up here on when you go to the circular out here, we're going to have a much clearer pedestrian walkway down that right side that then takes you straight across to health sciences. Thank you, right here. At that crosswalk is going to be a 3-way stop. So when folks come in now, they're going to hit a light, and then they're going to have to stop down here at health sciences in whatever direction you come from. So this street is going to calm down dramatically, and with a median in the middle, there's going to be no more Fast and Furious passing in a middle lane that doesn't exist along Lawson. All right, so this is going to be a much reduced speed, and I think you already said 8-foot sidewalks. But the other thing I want to make sure before you go to OCC, Ingram, New Health Sciences, these will be ADA accessible. So you're going to be able to move from here can either come up here to come over to the cafe, but there's also an ADA accessible that comes from the sidewalk up to health sciences. So the campus is going to be much more traversable from an accessibility standpoint from whatever point you're on than it is now, including where those stairs were, there's elevators there. So no matter where you are on campus, you're going to have the ability to move around from an ADA standpoint. I just want to make sure people do that.
Thank you. Good point.
And I was going to mention you're going to get all your parking back in these parking lots as long as you bear with us while we construct them.
All right, Orange County. So what we're doing Orange County, a little bit different. We're not adding a brand new building, but what we're doing is adding an addition to it, which is approximately 14,000 square feet. And we're adding that on 2 floors. So we're adding to the end of the building. And you'll see exactly where that is in a moment. So here's our beautiful campus on the green. And then you'll see on the front here is where the addition is going to go. So here's our existing building, and we've got the big hill we were just looking at, and this is where the addition is going to be. So we got our first floor with a nice outdoor seating terrace area, and then we have the second floor and then the roof. And so we've got about 7,000 square feet on the first floor, another 7 on the second floor. And I went through quickly, but essentially this is going to create additional space for expanding some of the programs and bringing in some new programs at Orange County. So we're going to be increasing the capacity for EMS, as well as allied health services, and allied health and wellness, Melissa, I'll get it right one day, and skilled trades as well. So here's an exterior image of, I guess, I'm not even sure what the orientation of the building is, but I think you got me. So this is on the first floor when you're in the parking lot looking at that new outdoors area, the courtyard. So I just want to let you know all these images, I should have caveated this, it's not necessarily the exact final, so please don't be married to it. We're still working through these designs with the architects, but it'll give you a general idea of size and look and feel for what it's going to be in the end. We're still working through the details. And again, another exterior view, but just slightly around the corner. So this is going to be the new back of the building, if you wish, as you're driving up to campus. We're still maintaining the door and the front entry in the same location as it is today. So on the top right images is the view of the new cafeteria for the students and staff to enjoy. So we're going to make it much larger. And hopefully brighter, and we'll have direct access to the outside as well. So you'll have the ability to sit, eat, relax, indoor and outdoor in this new space. And here's a rendering of it now. So you'll have essentially as much space on the outside as you will on the inside. Here's a summary of what the floor plans look like. So to your left, left, we've got the existing floor plans, and to the right are the new ones. So you can see where we've added the additions. So you know, right now the orange at the top, that is the second floor, and those are the allied health programs. So they're going to have additional rooms than what they have today. The EMS is in pink, and then we've got skilled trades in the taupe over here in this color. And we are not removing any classrooms. We're actually adding 1 classroom that's going to have more technology than what you have today. Here's a few additional renderings that we have. So this particular area is for the second floor. In the addition, that's going to create some new meeting rooms and seating spaces for staff and students alike to sit at and study and meet with their colleagues at. And here's an image of a new interior stairwell that we have that's going to be just adjacent to the cafeteria. So it'll give you another access to get up and down the stairs and also bring a lot of light into the building. Oh, and this is where the HyFlex classroom is going to be on the second floor. All right, and now I'll pass it over to Corey with Samet, who's going to walk us through what the construction of that addition is going to look like.
Perfect. Good afternoon. So my name is Corey Shearer, project executive for Samet. Now, normally when presenting last, I like to make the joke of saving the best for last, but obviously we've got a really great lineup of projects here, and it's really great to see the commitment from the college to their students, their faculty, and to their programs. So what we did save for last was a different set of challenges, this being a occupied, phased renovation and addition. So really what this means is that our day-to-day work for this project really has to be closely coordinated with everyone in the building, especially any type of interruptions, shutdowns when making connections to utilities. We like to call it as a good neighbor mentality. You know, the less we're seen, the less we're heard, the better, right? But that's obviously difficult if we've got a 100-foot crane out there or if we're doing demolition. Now, a lot of things that, just like a lot of things, the biggest, most important thing here is communication. And that's anywhere from letting the college know of the activities that we have planning, forecasting the shutdowns, not just weeks in advance, but months in advance, so that we can make the good and informed decisions. The safety of the college faculty and staff is of the utmost importance, along with the mitigation of any type of impacts for any of the programs going on. So getting to some of the logistics of the project itself, you can see one of the civil drawings, the overlay here. On the north page, top of the building there, as well as the south, you can see two of the construction entrances. We've established our full perimeter around the building. Now, for consistency, we want to make sure that all of our deliveries, any type of traffic for this project is going to be occurring at the south gate. And from there, we're going to have a lot of the deliveries coming off Waterstone Drive, so that it's not a mix of coming from north and south. It's consistent that any of the construction traffic deliveries is coming from one area. And during this, we want to make sure that we're coordinating all of the deliveries, especially when we start getting into some of the concrete foundations, the erecting of steel, and then any of the larger deliveries associated with some of the envelope. Now, jumping to the interior of the building, I really want to echo our goal of not being seen or heard for this. So what you can see here from the addition side as well as the renovation side is insulated partitions. And what this is going to allow is when we're actually tying in the two of the buildings to have less interruptions between that. So when students or faculty is walking down the corridor, they're not going to see a lot of things that are going on the job site. Then we can get on to the second floor. You're going to see similar for this. Now, to talk a little bit about duration and what to expect, we're looking to start towards the fall of 25, and that'll continue into the first quarter of 27. Now, on the exterior, you're not going to see a lot of difference. There's not going to be a lot of shifting of fence or shifting of traffic routes. It'll stay pretty consistent with that. But the challenge throughout the project is going to be a little bit on the interior, because we're not just adding the addition to it, but we're going to be renovating several areas within the building. And really the important thing to there is to separate those areas out so that you're not having a lot of the construction going through the corridors. So it's about risk mitigation and the safety of everyone. And with that, also I want to note that we're going to put a heavy emphasis on signage to ensure that we have parking areas set, that we understand the routes that construction are taking versus the public, and then also the routes that are inside of the building when we're doing renovations, so that you don't walk to the top of a staircase, come to a barrier, come back to the bottom of the staircase, traverse through the building separately. So it's really important to have that tight communication during this renovation. With that.
Okay. So that is our formal presentation. Now it's time for engagement. That means we're looking for audience engagement and ask some questions. I do want to say one thing before we leave OCC, and this may disappoint some of you, but we are changing the water system in the building so that our toilets will work. You didn't have that detail, but I just knew they'd feel passionately about that. So we have a question online. Go ahead, Tony.
So the question on the line is, they're interested in knowing whether or not we're going to have all gender restrooms in the new buildings.
Yes.
For those
Go
who
ahead,
see me
Marie.
nodding, yeah, so this is Marie. Yes, we will have gender-neutral bathrooms in all three of the buildings. So we'll be adding some in the existing addition at Orange County as well.
And I'll add lactation and wellness space in each building.
Next question online is, when burying power lines on Lawson, should we expect power outages or disruptions? Will the generator be repaired before then?
Well, can we speak to the generator first? Marshall?
So currently, we are in the process of going out for bid for a replacement generator for Building 1. However, that won't have anything to do with all this new construction. So there will be a temporary tie-in for the loop system, but all that will be scheduled for after hours so we don't have interruption in services.
Go ahead, Greg.
So yes, there will be power outages, as you have to take the old wires offline to tie in the new to every building. So as always, that'll be a scheduled outage. It will be off hours. A lot of times that works on weekends or late in the evening, right? So that would be really far in advance notice provided to the campus so that it can be planned well in advance. Everybody's aware of it. And then we do the shutdown and tie-ins to power up for our new feeders. So yes, there will be power outages, but they will be well managed.
Great. Parking. So I'll start by saying you need to know that for all of this construction at both campuses, we had traffic studies and parking studies done by experts. And by compliance code, you need to have so much parking per square footage. So, why don't you talk about parking, Marie? Sure. We do not believe, go ahead, sorry.
No, I think it's parking eventually, but also parking during construction.
Is it during, Kathy, or eventually?
During.
During, great.
Yeah, because it looked like I don't know the numbers, but that parking lot, that parking lot.
D and F?
Yeah, that's why I
Yes.
put the slide up.
Good.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, correct. So parking lot D, which is where the life sciences project and new parking lot is going to be, will be shut down during construction. So that's going to be starting this summer. I think we had said July-ish, June, July-ish, whenever Greg puts up his fencing. And then for the health sciences building, same thing. So lot F is also going to be shut down and not available during construction as well. So everyone's going to be having to park on the north side of campus right now, so all around the buildings that we're at today, or on the south side with buildings 10, 11, and along Cooper Street down here and this way. Correct.
Sure.
And of course, once all the buildings open, so it's going to be Q2 of 27, you're going to have additional parking again for the life sciences, and when health sciences come back online, that one will also open in Q4 of 27.
Hello. Hey, I was wondering to make sure that we have service elevators and service doors. This is going to be health sciences, so there's going to be like hospital beds going in and out of the doorways. So we have to make sure that the doors are wide enough for those, so our guys don't have to do sideways and bring them in. So
Well, we'd love to see you do gymnastics, but, and I am pointing to Marshall because we've had a lot of these conversations during the design meetings. So for both the life and health sciences projects, we will have, they are loading docks with wider doors, and we've taken into account different areas, correct, wider doors, either double doors or like door and a half leaves. And I'm sure Marshall could share the plans with you to review to make sure that we don't have any issues bringing things around.
I would love Melissa to also speak to that.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that much to have, but we got y'all. Like, we know. We know. In fact, we did some rearranging of spaces. I'm like, wait a minute, can they get stuff around this corner? So trying to think about door spaces and entrances, and, you know, even the equipment that we are bringing in may be a little bit larger because of the newer beds and things like that. So we've definitely had that on our mind and how y'all navigate. What else? Yeah, I think they mentioned that. So hospital size, making sure that there are elevators that will fit that equipment as well. So yeah, we got you.
And you probably can't see this, but I'm pointing to the set of double doors here at the loading dock. So that's going to be off the parking lot on the west side, on the Bacon Street side of the lot. So you're going to be right at the front of the building here.
Yes. Can you all speak to the accessibility features of the building? So physical accessibility and other elements?
Sure. Do you mean specifically access or anything else?
Access. So I
So definitely everything that we're building needs to meet code, which is ADA compliant. And so we will have elevators in every location, and any ramp that we have leading to the building will be compliant with the maximum slopes that we need. We haven't quite finished the lighting controls, but there will be, what's the word I'm looking for, Greg? Occupancy sensors and whatnot. And we're also going to have the ability to dim lights in certain areas. That's been highlighted and discussed with the academic staff. With respects to, what was the other question you had? I'm sorry. Oh, door access and waving. So we will have push buttons in certain areas, and we're still working through all the different doors, actually with the chief of police and Marshall's team, to make sure that we're taking account all the different areas that we need to have those available.
Thank you. Oh, okay, and then I'll go to you, Tracy. I'll be right up. It's okay.
So for outages, how do we plan for keeping refrigeration and incubation needs online?
You want me to take this? So I can start.
Go ahead.
I don't want to make any promises for Durham Tech, but on construction-wise, we always plan those well in advance. And if there are critical pieces of equipment where you need refrigerant to stay online or other things like that, generators can be brought in. So you can switch the feed over to a generator, power up those critical pieces of equipment and components in your existing buildings while the power's down and the switchover is made. So certainly, as we learn more, that can be further developed and we can nail that down.
Yeah, I would just say that we make sure when we send the notices out that we're going to have a power shutdown or something, that anybody that in their area that needs those kind of services, they reach out to us and we'll make sure that we provide what you need for your area to be able to keep it. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're looking at this, and Corey mentioned this, but I do want to let you know, we understand how disruptive this is going to be on campus. So, you know, I pledge to you, we will keep the communication going so that people know what's happening. We will have QR codes that tell you how to get different places. In addition, again, we'll have the website that will have live updates. So we know communication is key. We want to make sure people know what's going on and can react to that. Tracy. That's okay.
Did they mention anything about pedestrian walkway or
Yeah.
crosswalk?
Sure.
I know you mentioned median, but-
Let's look at it again. Do you mind putting the logistics slide up for the main campus? No, this is very key.
Sorry, I don't know if I heard the question properly.
Can you talk to pedestrian walking on campus during construction? That's your concern? Yes, across Lawson in particular?
Yeah, probably the health science.
Very important.
I'm getting there. There we go. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, either one. So the main goal here is to have a pathway that splits both of the job sites, because if we combine the two job sites together, it would be a long walk around either way, right? So what we planned was just go right in the middle of them, put an 8-foot wide sidewalk that's ADA compliant. So this is going to be a 1 in 20 slope, wheelchair accessible. It's actually 185 feet long is what the math works out to. But starting all the way from back here at the beginning, south side of Building 8, all the way over to Lawson Street. And then we would tie in to the walkway that's currently there to get over and go across the crosswalk, right? And so coming north to south, then you tie into the existing east, west, north, south current sidewalks that are already there at Building 10, right?
Sure. One of the things we haven't really spoken about, and I'm going to have Marshall talk to this, is when we demo Building 8, which is going to happen before that. I'm going to ask Marshall to talk about that project from a standpoint of that circle is going to be removed in front of 10 and where ADA parking is going to move to.
Yeah, so Marie is pointing to it now with the, yeah. Yeah.
That's all going to be.
So that's all going to go away. And what we're doing is behind Building 10, we're going to be installing a new sidewalk from that back area all the way around to go in at the entrance of the dining area for Building 10. So the parking behind Building 10 will be reallocated for handicap. So all of that parking will be converted over to handicap, of course, except for the service vehicle spot. And then we'll have a sidewalk that goes right up to that sidewalk leading into the dining area so that we have ADA accessibility from that side.
Great. Francesca?
Just thinking on the future about the AV and the future parking lot. Is any charger for any teacher that have electrical cars?
Great question. Spoken like a true electrician. Marie, you going to answer that?
I got the answer. The answer is yes. And so what we're going to be doing is providing, keep me honest, is it 9 or 10 spots? Marshall, don't remember. I believe it's 10 on this side here. So we've put them all together on the life sciences side, right over here. And so this whole row is going to be EV charging, and we're actually going to have one of these as a ADA spot as well. So we got you covered.
And that is code, correct?
Correct. So
That's
part
code
of our
now.
state construction submission is that we must provide a minimum number of spots for electric vehicles. And so we've combined them in one location here. So they're kind of central to campus.
Good question, electrician.
I know.
Another online question is, do we have a staffing plan in place to account for the additional maintenance, shipping, receiving, et cetera, that these new buildings will add to our already strained system?
I'm going to go to our CFO on that because he's done a great job. Go ahead.
Yes, when we presented these to the county, we have to give them a projection on the operating costs for the new buildings. So there will be additional housekeeping facility and campus police that'll be coming on to these buildings when they open up. And the county did have to sign off on that.
Questions? Hold on. Okay. Hold on. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
So I understand about the ADA parking will go further down, correct? So currently we have a structure in place where people can get dropped off. Is that going away?
Yes. So speak to that. What do you feel the need is? Should that be something we consider?
Absolutely.
Who's impacted?
Students.
Students.
I can name one specifically.
Great.
for the students.
Okay. So I think that's important for us to note. Marshall, especially?
I guess the question I have again is during construction or after?
I would say, I think you're talking as soon as we pull 8 down and that circle goes away, because that's where students are dropped off. That's where you're thinking.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we can keep in mind that the circle just to the left or west of Building 5 is still going to be there, so you can still drop off. It's just going to be on the north side of East Lawson now. Correct. But now you're going to be in the middle of construction, so if you're looking to get dropped off for the south side of construction, you'd probably be best to go around to Cooper Street.
But that's a great point. I think we need to note that. This is the kind of comments we'd like. Let me just go up to you. Go ahead.
It was more or less the same. I don't need that, but yeah, it's more or less the same thing. Are we going to have everything in place before 8 and the circle go away? In other words, the sidewalk, the parking, all will be redesignated before the buildings go, so we're not going, oh, where is it now?
Yes. The Building 8 construction and that is really on, we're working with 35 Degree North, but that's a project that Marshall is spearheading, so yes, we will have that all in place. And what Greg is talking about as far as the fencing, that will be put in place predominantly not because we're going to start construction this summer, but we want it in place before the semester starts so that people get used to navigating, correct?
That's right.
I was just going to comment on Makara's question. I think with that Building 10, the ADA parking behind Building 10, just wanted maybe thinking about some sort of drop-off instructions or something in that area, because it's still going into 10, because that's what you're thinking about is access to 10. if there's no more access to 8. So maybe signage or something that can utilize that new.
Which, that presents a challenge. We need to really get because we also have deliveries and things back there. But that is exactly the type of feedback we're looking for. Yes, a sidewalk. No. Oh, sorry. It's ADA compliant.
And it'll go between building 10 and 11, so from the edge here, right between the buildings to join the sidewalk here.
So if you've walked it, it seems a little steep. We're going to make sure. But no, we've walked it. We want to make sure that it is ADA compliant. I think, President Buxton mentioned this. This came clearly across in the revision of the master plan. We are going to ensure, as you can see from the focus, that the buildings are built that are really geared, and we know we're responding to our ADA community.
I think there was a question at the back, Susan.
Yes. Hold on. It's okay. I didn't exercise this morning.
Is that ADA parking and sidewalk remaining post-construction, or is that temporary?
Well, let me just, what we haven't said, by the way, is that there will be additional ADA parking
Okay.
in Lot A.
So I think
we're moving some across the street too.
Let me go back. So let's start with the sidewalk that we mentioned. So this is our final, what it's going to look like plan with all the buildings and the parkings there. So the new sidewalk that we talked about from the back of Building 10 going to here is going to remain. So that's going to be able to be continued to be used. Now what we're doing is adding a whole lot. So all of this here, all of these banks of parkings is all ADA parking. And again, I can't remember how many. I think there's 15 in that location. So that's right in the middle between life sciences, adjacent to Building 10, and close to 11 as well, if that overflows too. And so we haven't, I don't know whether the ones here are going to go away, but I know that we're going to have lots of supplement in this area as well. So you're not going to, we have more than the minimum required, much more than the minimum required, and so you won't be running out.
Question online is there the potential to add improvements to OCC in the process of the addition? Example is DI water systems for the science labs.
Do you want to answer that? Let me just say a couple things. We are looking at the entire water system at OCC because we need to make sure that we have enough pressure and water to feed the addition. So we're hopeful that the challenge we have currently with those will be gone. I mean, that's our intent.
Susan, would you say something about renovation on the existing OCC in addition to what's happening?
Sure. Sure. What we've spoken about are some classrooms that currently exist that will be renovated for skilled trades. Keep me honest here. We're looking at hopefully renovating the library. Okay, we're looking at the lobby. We've been looking at the lobby area. We're adding an area for food pantry services there. Did I leave anything out? Oh, and the lights. You know, we were fortunate enough, the county has given us additional money, and JB will speak to our sustainability goals with all of this, to go with new lighting throughout the entire building that is much more sustainable than we are now, energy-wise. Did I forget anything?
No, I think that's
You're going to see, so when you walk into, let me say this,
I'm sorry.
people online can hear. When you walk into OCC, you're going to be looking at a glassed-in library, essentially. It's going to create a much more welcoming space to get drawn into that library. The whole lobby is going to look a little bit different in presentation. And then as you go down the left hallway, and you remember the stairway, you're not going to be looking down kind of like the old high school hallway. You're going to have a light-filled window and stair at the back. So we're not losing any classroom space. We're adding classroom space from what's there now. We're adding skilled trade. we're renovating the library, we're adding student spaces, and then we're talking about the addition and all the different classroom and lab and student and faculty spaces in there.
I do want to let you know, we're in the third phase of the project in design development, and this is where we get down to the dollars and the cents and what our dream is and what reality is. So, we've been in meetings with almost each building, and we will be doing that shortly with OCC to say, okay, where is our priority? What can we do, and do we need to cut anything out? I do want to let you know that throughout this process, our goal has been, and the president's been very clear, it's on our academic spaces. So we are really focusing on those areas in each building.
Online question is, any thoughts on using solar panels on the rooftops?
That's a good one.
Go ahead, Marie.
Great question. I don't want to take too much from JB sustainability goals discussion, but that is something that we looked at extensively. Part of our state construction submissions, we have to do very extensive modeling to see what we can get both best bang for our buck, but also what's most efficient. Obviously, solar panels on the roof is always hot. Everyone talks about it. It's the cool thing to do. But when it really came down to it, in talking with some of our partners at Duke University, for example, who are very sustainability focused, they said what you really want to do is, it's great to add and get green energy, but where you get your biggest bang for your buck is getting the most efficient systems in the building to operate. And so that's really where you need to look and invest first. And so
No, keep going. I just want to say something else.
Sure. And so the analysis, when we came down and crunched all the numbers, the engineers came back and said, we can do it, but the system is not going to pay for itself. So we decided, instead of putting solar panels on the roof, to really put that money into more efficient HVAC systems, better lighting. That's really going to save us money over the long term and provide better quality, cleaner energy. And the solar panels were just not going to be a good investment on our dollar.
I just wanted to add to the Duke partnership. You may know that Duke has set a goal to be the best climate university in the country, and they've stood up a whole climate and sustainability team. And so we got that team together with us to review with our architects, with Marie, with Susan and others, to review all of our plans around sustainability. And this is what came out of it. And frankly, to the person asking the question, that was one of our big priorities going into the conversations, was how do we create space either now or in the future for photovoltaic array. And we got very strong feedback about just what Marie talked about, investing in mostly the electrification of our operational systems and the importance of that for the return on the intensity of our energy usage and carbon emissions footprint. So great question and something we really explored. But I really appreciate Duke's commitment to kind of sit and walk through with us what some of the choices, and let me just say this as part of that sustainability, and we'll show you what the goals are. Part of what we're trying to do is go beyond existing code compliance, which is improving from a sustainability standpoint, but set our own goals for even deeper reductions of energy usage and water usage. One of the challenges is we're working with a bond package in both counties. So we've got a budget. And so part of what we're trying to do is find additional resources. Susan mentioned that Orange County gave us the resources we need to do and meet our climate sustainability goals at Orange County. And we're working with some additional partners on the 2 projects here on main campus to be able to achieve the same thing. And I'll go over those goals in a second.
Another online question is, wondering if we faculty could add a little to Canvas, the syllabus or orientation documents related to this, and give the students an early heads up to look for the QR code and comms and so forth.
Yes, great idea. I do want to make one comment here. And we're all planning this in campus operations, and Ellen Boswell in particular. As you can see, starting next year, there is a large portion of this campus that is going to be under construction. I think we need to think strategically in having external guests on campus for events, whether we sponsor them or not, because it's going to be challenging, especially to get to win. So we're working on probably reducing the number of external contracts that we have and people that want to come, but many of you sponsor events here. It's just going to be challenging to navigate, so we need to think purposefully and strategically about that. So I just wanted to mention that.
Next question is, will these buildings be on the wide range temperature plans? We have been told that buildings will be moving to a 75-degree in the summer, 65-degree in the winter model. Curious if that will also apply here.
Yes.
Thank you, Marshall. There's
Okay.
more. Thank you. This online community is
Just popped up. Wondering if there's a possibility of having any dedicated faculty and staff parking.
President Buxton? No. Feedback from the group, I'm hearing no? 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 Okay. Other questions? Yes. Hold on. Stephen, let me go. Here you go.
So if I understand it correctly, the cafe entrance will be the main entrance in 10 during construction. Is that right? That's the closest entrance to that ADA sidewalk.
It will be the entrance for anyone that uses ADA parking. You can still go in the front door. All the other entrances are going to be open. Yes. Do you want to point to that, Marie, where you would
Yeah,
walk?
unfortunately, Building 10 is kind of cut off on both sides. But yes, to Susan's point, all entrances will remain open. But now the majority of traffic will be channeled through on this side. So depends on which way they want to go in. But if you're parking on the south side off Cooper Street for the ADA, coming through the ramp on the side, you'll be going in through the cafeteria entrance.
Yeah, the sidewalk on the right-hand side will be still available.
Right, right.
As well.
So there won't be any entrance closing. There will not be any entrances closing and when.
Could you speak to sustainability when it comes to all of the new landscaping?
That's a great question. Do you want to take that?
Do you want to go to the slide?
Nobody wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
We're having those discussions now.
I'm getting confused.
Yeah, why don't
Yeah,
we-
let
I
me
think that'd be
flip
great.
through for you, and then while I.
And then, hold on a second, I want to, which way are we going here?
The sustainability ones are way at the bottom.
The last ones, yeah.
Oh, no, but I want to do this real quick. When I finish this, I want you all to think about the fact that this new, what is it, 1.5 acre quad here, and then on the west side of Life Sciences, you saw the kind of bricked-in area that'll be like a terrace or a patio, but here, in between Life Sciences and Wynn, and then here, as you come down the embankment, we have all kinds of new open spaces. And we are, while we've dealt with some of the landscape plan, in terms of what we think about with outdoor furniture, what we think about the character of that outdoor furniture, what kind of gathering spaces we want, potentially teaching spaces, there are plans. This is a little bit more open. This is going to actually have some very clear plans around furniture. But if you have thoughts today, and as we move forward, about how we activate those spaces, those are going to be new opportunities for us that we do not have right now. All right, that's really for the geese right now. All right, so let me go.
Okay. We'll wait till he's done.
All right, so the challenge in doing this work in North Carolina and even in Durham and Orange County is that we do not operate within the context or framework of any sustainability goals. So it's not like with hub contracting or minority and women-owned businesses, and there are some goals in Durham, they're not in Orange, that help guide and inform us about how we want to think about doing their work. There's basically nothing besides code compliance. We have a strategic plan that calls for us to have a more sustainable approach to our buildings and our footprint. And so we, working with our architect and construction managing partners, we set some goals that we thought were achievable as stretch goals for us on the main campus and the Orange County campus projects as it pertains to sustainability and our climate goals. So what you see here are 4 major goals. This is our 25, 35, 45, 100 plan. All right, we want a 25% reduction below what the code requires. So the code's getting better, and there's a new one coming in January. And we're going to go 25% below that, 35% below that on these. We want a 25% reduction in our energy usage and associated carbon emissions. We want the 35% reduction on indoor water usage, 45% reduction on lighting energy usage, and then 100% reduction, Eileen, on our outdoor water usage. All right, below code requirements. So we are imposing this on ourselves and trying to create a framework that we can set and a standard we can set for any construction that we do or renovation on campus as we move forward. And we may be able to go even deeper than this as we move forward, but this is where we're working now. These are stretch goals for us in this, and I appreciate what Skanska and Samet, as well as our architectural partners, have been doing to try to create options. We talked about in Orange County, we went to them with a $275,000 request because we were able to do the water reductions within the budget, but not the lighting energy and overall carbon emission reductions, and they have approved that amendment. What you'll see on these other ones, and Marie, you might want to talk through potentially some of the details here, but some of this is about the electrification of the HVAC system, some about embodied carbon in our building materials. I mean, there may be a few specifics if people want to know that, but we are not talking with private partners about helping us accomplish the additional, or helping us support the additional dollars it's going to take to meet these beyond the budget package, the bond package. So that doesn't quite go far enough, and we're trying to preserve as much as we can to make sure we've got the teaching and learning spaces, the faculty spaces, the student spaces, the staff spaces in the buildings, the landscaping and the streetscape, as well as what we're trying to do with climate sustainability. So we've got, if you want to talk about some of the specifics of the water systems, but we've been designing those with that 100% outdoor water usage goal beyond code compliance in mind.
So quickly, back to your landscaping question. So for current, Durham Tech does not have irrigation right now, so we are considering irrigation potentially, and if we do implement those systems, and of course, back to Susan's comment about costing, we're putting everything in the balance and seeing what sticks. But if we do provide irrigation, it'll be through a rainwater cistern, so we'll be collecting everything and then pumping back out, so we're not using city water for that. And so that's much more green for the planet. Also, from a landscaping perspective, part of what our architects, or I should say landscape architects, are working on is creating like a plant palette for all the different plants that we can use. And usually they focus on drought resistant, local, native, and strong species that will do well in our environment, and specifically in the Durham area, because we have some pretty hot, dry, and rocky soil. And so certain plants that do well in North Carolina proper, in this basin is a little bit different, and so they're very careful to make sure that we select plant material that will do well and thrive on our campus and easy to maintain.
And Marshall Fuller approved, since he has to maintain them.
That's right.
We have 2 more questions.
Yeah, of course.
Do we have an estimate for increased operating cost?
Of course. I think we have to do that when we ask for it.
Yeah, we had to do that when we asked for the money from the county, and since I do not have my 3-1s with me in hand, I can't give you specific dollar amounts, but basically we did put in there additional funds for utilities, staffing, and for all 3 of the projects. But if you want to email me, I can give you the exact operating costs for each of the 3 buildings.
And remind the county, that's not coming out of our existing budget. That's
Yeah,
additional.
this is additional funding from the county.
Question online. There have been some issues with the elevators and HVAC in the two most recent buildings. Have there been any discussion to select less troublesome options for the new construction?
Yes.
Yeah, so we are well aware of those, and we're working with the architects and the engineers and the contractors to make sure that we take that in consideration for these new areas.
The meetings are very interesting as we discuss these things, because we'll say, you know, we have this experience in building 11. Marshall gets extremely passionate. So yes, these are the conversations we have at our meetings. That's a great point. Anything else?
Anybody else in the room?
Well, we appreciate the engagement, and I need you to think about this. We'll post much of this online at our new Capital Construction website, but please, if you have questions, suggestions, or things that we haven't thought about, please email me. I do want to say that we have, as JB mentioned, the academic programs and faculty have been involved. Students have been involved. We're trying to be as inclusive and collaborative as we can be. We banter back and forth, right, Melissa? About storage and things like that, goodness knows. But we appreciate your feedback. Did you have another question? Go ahead.
When will that website be live?
Caden?
Right now.
Hey, that's service. So we'll be adding to it regularly, and we'll point, I think, take the Monday message to point people there and, take a new look. As Marie said, some of these renderings may change a bit. I mean, if you saw us yesterday, we were picking up brick and paver. So we're getting close. That's what we were doing out there, yes, because we wanted to see it in the light. But thank you. Go ahead. One more question. Uh-oh, go ahead. It's okay.
Over time, we've lost a lot of records, storage space. Do we have a file for CDAC in one of the new buildings?
Which program?
CDAC.
Well, we can speak to a lot of storage in both buildings, but all buildings.
So we've talked a lot about storage. And we've been particularly mindful of record storage. Particularly, I can speak to health and wellness because of the vast accreditation requirements that we have, and also records requirements for our CE programs. So we've been very careful to think about adequate space for storage, locked areas for storage, how that happens, transfer of records and those sorts of things, locations to work with those records and review them. So all of that's being considered in what's there, and also the logistics of what we're doing. And I'll just add, and I know I can probably speak for the other departments, but within our departments, we'll be also talking a lot more about these spaces, so you can see them, more closely and engage in some other. So I'm sure there might be other specific conversations for those people that are going to be in the buildings. So I just wanted to put out there that now that we've had this, the departments will have even more conversations about what it's going to be like to be in those buildings and move around in those buildings.
Sure. And I would say this is the first view that our facilities and operational group got to see things. So I'm happy they're here, and Marshall's been dying to have conversation and show them. But now we wanted to make sure that we had something to really show, and we do now. So, we'll be going forth.
I want you to know that when we started this, we decided that in order to pick the right architects and the right construction managers, we needed a little support and help from folks who did this more often than we do. So in addition to Susan having some strong back and forth with Wake Tech, which builds a lot of buildings, we brought the university architect at UNC Chapel Hill. We brought the person who had been responsible for building most of Duke's buildings for the past 20 years and the person responsible now over at NC Central, and put them on our selection committee to pick our architects and to pick our construction managers because they had experience, recent experience. We could not have done better. Skanska and Samet, from recent constructions in this area and just their footprint all across the country, frankly, but these are top quality firms that we're working with, and it has proven itself out in this work. Our 3 architects that we've worked with, Catherine Hogan Architects, and the person for them working on it is Catherine Hogan. Andre Johnson Architects, it's Andre Johnson, and Lord Axe Sargent working on health sciences have been outstanding, engaged deeply with us, and respectful of the priorities we have set about what these buildings and facilities need to be. I want to end where I started. We wouldn't be here, even with those great partners, without the people I mentioned at the beginning. And so for the folks who have filtered in, Chris Mansfield and Talicia Hunter, I didn't get to see Jane Marie Baker, so Jane Marie Baker, Melissa Ockert, and their teams, Justin Long and his team working out at OCC, in addition to Melissa with the work out there. And then Dr. Battle, Dr. Donez, Andy Klein have been involved, Marshall Fuller has been involved, and then finally Susan Bowen, who has led this project. We have a deep engagement from our community to make this work, and I just want to end on a note of thanks again for what they've done to put in place what I think are going to be fantastic spaces, both indoor and outdoor, for you and your colleague, our colleagues, and our students. So with that, thank you. I'm always amazed at how much information I retain about these buildings.